The good news from the State Employment Development Department's most recent job report is San Diego County's unemployment rate is now 6.4%, the best seen since the Great Recession of 2008. But the report suggests the drop may be due to people leaving the job market. Joining me with details are Peter Brunel, Research Director for the Center on Policy Initiatives, and Eric Bruvold, President of National University System for Policy Research. And welcome back to Evening Edition.
Good to see you.
Now, Eric, the county's unemployment rate did dip in December from the month before, but what does the long-term picture tell us?
So we added about 25,000 jobs year over year, so from December 2012 to today. We've seen the unemployment rate dip, but we've seen people exit the job market, which is of concern. And we added most of our jobs in sectors that tend to pay lower wages, so wages that it makes it tough to earn a living in San Diego County.
So it's sort of a mixed bag. And Peter, I know that one of the reasons, as Eric mentioned, is that some are saying people just simply dropped out of the job market because of Congress' failure to extend the long-term unemployment benefits. How does that factor in?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard from this data to get at the exact source, but that's obviously one of the main things that's happened. So yeah, that's the concern, is that people were receiving long-term unemployment benefits. As a condition of receiving those benefits, they had to be actively looking for work. And, you know, those are people who've been unemployed for a long period of time. So as that sort of incentive to continue looking for work is drying up, they may be feeling extremely discouraged and just dropping out of the labor market altogether.
Right, because in order to get the benefits, you actually have to, as you say, you have to
exactly.
look for work and show that you do. What industries did you see that reported an increase in job openings here as far as industry?
Well, so the leading industry, one of the leading industries in terms of the increases year over year was in the restaurant, in restaurant industry, and in particularly most of that is focused in the limited service restaurants, so fast food, and that's, you know, echoing some of the concerns that Eric mentioned. You know, those are typically some of the lowest paid jobs. So go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up again, Eric. So President Obama is expected to sign an executive order to raise minimum wage to $10.10 for federal contractors. Interim Mayor Todd Glorious says he's pushing to raise the San Diego's minimum wage above the current mandated $8 an hour, which is going to go up to, I believe, $10 an hour in the next couple of years. And he wants it even higher here in San Diego. So my first question to you is, what kind of impact do you think raising the minimum wage, either locally, state, nationally, would have on the economy here?
So for industries that are locally serving, so folks like fast food restaurants or most of the retail trade, I mean, what's going to happen is probably will be very minimal impacts on employment. Prices will go up a little bit in those industries as people pass on their increased cost of labor. And it'll be essentially a wash when you look at the net economic impact in terms of those sorts of industries. More problematic are industries which compete on either a national or an international scale. And we do have some of those. And to the extent to which that minimum wage increase, for example, would hit our hospitality industry, prices would go up, and we could lose or see some negative impacts in terms of the demand for San Diego hotel rooms and hospitality.
And do you agree with that, Peter? Do you think minimum wage can have raising the minimum wage can have an impact on certain communities within San Diego County?
Well, I mean, it's certainly, I mean, I think no one disagrees that it's you know, for the workers who get the raise, it makes a big difference. You know, it's very expensive to live here in San Diego. So for, you know, there's hundreds, you know, hundreds of thousands of low-wage workers in the region. You know, folks can certainly, you know, working at the lowest wages legally allowed can definitely deserve a raise, and that will impact them and their families, and also they'll have more money to spend locally in, you know, the local grocery store or whatnot.
Besides the minimum wage, what sort of other policies do you think could help with fixing sort of that long-term unemployed?
I mean, that's a good question. I think we're all kind of trying to grapple with that, especially at the regional level. So, I mean, I think, you know, the minimum wage obviously raises things up. I mean, at the federal level, the earned income tax credit is important, and people sort of often think of either or with minimum wage, but even like cities like San Francisco actually have experimented with a localized earned income tax credit in combination with a higher minimum wage.
Okay, and Eric, it sounds like you want to tell me something briefly about that.
It's not a magic wand, but the bottom line is that at the peak of employment, we had about 90,000 people in this region working in construction. Now we have 50,000 people working in construction. And if we really were serious about dealing with this issue, we would make it much easier to build housing and put much more investment into our basic infrastructure so we put more people in that industry back to work.
All right, Eric Brevald and Peter Brownell, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure.